can we go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline? And welcome to the show, someone who's been on these airways many, many times. But first time we've been able to talk to him since he has been announced that he is going to be enshrined in the Texas Athletics Hall of Honor class of 2023. He, along with five other men's athletes and five women's athletes, will be going in and inducted September the 15th. He is the great lifetime Longhorn wide receiver and kick returner Quan Cosby joins us. Hello, Quan. Congratulations, my friend.
Congrats, brother. Congrats on that.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. E and Rob B, man, that's a dang good group right there, brother. This is fun. It's been fun listening to y'all. And I'm gonna tell you, as much as we're gonna talk about that, I actually have a weird story to add to the Michael Orr situation.
Oh, throw it out
Me
there.
and my twin brother, y'all know we were adopted.
Yes.
Well, we were actually almost adopted twice. A very similar situation happened where we went into an attorney's office and we're supposed to sign over our rights. And I'm telling you, dude, I'm freaking 12 years old and something didn't feel right. And I told my brother, you do not sign that. And we didn't get adopted by that family. And we ended up getting adopted by the family that I lived with for the rest of my life and all of that. So when I heard that story, I was like, oh, no, I know this very real and just random as it gets. But, yeah, no, that stuff is real. So it's going to be ugly. It's kind of wild.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Sugar. What a great! It's always a part of your story, Quan. You and your brother adopted, and then great athletes both, and off to Major League Baseball, and now back to the Longhorns. What was that phone call like when you got it? That I know you still work at the university, with the university, and have a lot of friends there. But did you know ahead of time, or was it a surprise phone call?
No, man, it was absolutely a surprise phone call. And then, ironically, one of my buddies said, "See," and I wouldn't tell Jordan this, but he's like, "Dude, you're going in to the Hall of Honor and as one of the best football players and golfers." And so he's full of crap. But I was actually golfing, surprise, surprise. And CDC called me, and he called me like 3 times in a row, and I wouldn't answer. And of course, I've talked about me and his argument relationship that we have. And so finally, he called me a 4th time, and I was like, I got to answer this. What's going on? And so the funny piece about it is I'm on speakerphone. I hear other people, and it was Chris Polanski and my man Ricky Brown in the background, and he just goes straight to it. "I'm calling you, and you don't answer the phone. I see how it is. You want to big time me?" And I was like, "Dude, what do you want? Why are you calling me, especially 4 times?" And he's like, "All right, brother. Congratulations, you're in the Hall of Honor." So we all bust out laughing. And he's like, "And I got Chris Polanski and, Ricky Brown in here." And I go, "Hey, man, all you had to do was have one of them call, and I would have answered on the first time." And so that's how my call went. In typical Chris and Quan conversation argument. So it actually, of course, it's never straight down 35. Is always the ways route when him and I talk. And so it got real special, real fast. It's still hard to kind of process with so many amazing folks that are in that hall and going into it this year. So, man, it's a weird deal, to be honest with you, but it was funny, and I like the way it happened because it was genuine and true to how we communicate.
That is so perfect. You on a golf course and CDC can't get a hold of you. That's awesome. You guys are kind of like star-crossed, you two. You like to argue and get cantankerous. Rod, what do you got?
Hey, Quan, you've obviously achieved a lot. That's why you're getting this honor to go into the Hall of Honor, and congratulations once again. On the 40 acres, what was your achievement that you're most proud of? That, what's the high mark for you in terms of all the things that you accomplished on the 40 acres?
Oh, man, that's a great question, especially coming from the lifetime legendary Longhorn. Man, you know what it is, and it will be a surprise, but not a surprise. I was fortunate enough to get the citation award earlier this year, and good Lord, man, to do that with Mountain and Rex Tillerson and Srinivas. I mean, these people are crazy and extraordinary for what they've done, not just in Austin, but across the globe.
Wow.
And that would have been one of the big ones. And this one, I mean, I think those two are actually equal. I think for me, and we started with talking about a rough situation on how I grew up, and I was the second person in my family to get a college degree. So I think that by far the most important thing I ever did on that campus is make sure I finished, get that college degree, because that's catapulted into one, generational change in my family. I was the second person in my family to get a college degree.
Wow.
We now have about 14 members.
Oh,
And so whether it's I think 6 or 7 is 4-year. My aunts, one of them, my biological mom didn't even have her high school GED. She went back and got her associate. So it just changed generationally how we look at education, what my biological and adoptive family have done from an educational standpoint. So I think walking across that stage as a 27-year-old, that's by far, I think, the most important thing that happened for me. And then just the relationships, you guys, players, administrators, all the above. It's still to be continued, and this place have lived up to the Coach Brown told us that family thing, and there's some work to do on that since he's gone, but it truly has lived up to it from my standpoint.
No question.
Yeah.
And going in with a teammate of yours on that national championship team, Jonathan Scott, along with Jordan Spieth, Chris Kirchner, James Means Jr., which is a great one. He broke the color barrier in the Southwest Conference, and David Denny from baseball will run through the women's going in as well here in a moment. But, Quan, it sounds like that answer you just gave to Rod, you were in that locker room in 2005 after winning the Rose Bowl and the national championship when Mac famously said, don't make this the best thing you ever do. Don't make this the best night of your life. That just gives people chills. But you've lived that, right? I mean, you just said generational change for your family, getting a degree. But that was where it started. You were a freshman on that national championship team, but profound words from one of your mentors, Mac Brown.
Dude, man, I remember there's a few things I get goosebumps about. Crazy games, things, songs, because I'm a terrible singer, and just that. I mean, dude, when he said that night, I just remember sitting there at one of the coolest and most special experiences night to be a participant. But it was so real. I was like, dude, I get it. You're good. I mean, you got a mouthpiece like no other, but that's just different. Like that, I couldn't believe his first natty.
Mm-hmm.
It was still so empathetic to life. I was like, golly, man, me and Mac, I've been pissed off at Mac, he's been pissed off at me, but that was a moment of just real. It's why I think I give him so much grace about so many things, and I mean, of course, he feels the same way about a lot of us, but it was a cool moment, and I've tried to live up to it. As I say, I'm perfectly imperfect, but the trying to live up to that piece of it, not just for him, but for the brothers beside me, for the guys who are in the locker room right now, of course, family as well. It's a cool thing, man. And really, it's funny because I guess in a roundabout way, I still am involved with certain UT stuff and certainly conversations about all things going on. But my role on campus now, it's why it's not just sports focus. It's about the campus experience for students, for first generational students, for all the above. So, man, I don't know that I've lived up to it yet, but I certainly wake up every day trying to. And unfortunately, because of so many folks in this city, y'all, man. I mean, again, the amount of conversations I've had. I mean, dude, there's some real mourning going on out there about the changes. Now, yeah. I know, fortunately, there's COVID sucked, but there's some silver lining in it. There's some dang good silver lining in you guys being together now. That's an all-star cast. But just the impact you make on people is super important to me, and I think in this walk of life. And y'all do it. So many folks do it, and I hope I can kind of live up to that as well.
Yeah, that's why you're being honored in the Hall of Honor. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Quan actually did receive the university's Presidential Citation Award, which is an award given. It was created like in 1979, honors the extraordinary contributions of people who personify the university's commitment to the task of transforming lives, and is the highest honor bestowed by the University of Texas at Austin. And my man Quan Cosby did get that honor. So another congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, so that's for those who don't know, that's why he's talking about now it's more about the experience at the university and for the community at the university, not just the athletics department. So Quan, now that I got that out of the way, because I want people to know that when you were talking about the citation award, I don't think people understood exactly what that meant. That's the highest honor that you can receive at Texas, and my man Quan has gotten that. But I want to ask you about this team. because you've been around some great teams at Texas. You know what a great culture looks like. You know what it feels like. You know what it sounds like. You know what it smells like. You've been around the culture there that Sark is building. Is it anything familiar to you?
Brother, man, that's so real. And it was funny because we go back to you and Hart's conversations with me and E and Busty's conversations. And I always talked about, I was like, man, we got some players, but we still don't have leaders. We still don't have this. The culture feels a little off. And I'd probably, if we're looking at a tank, quarter, half, 3/4 full, the culture, in my opinion, is the closest thing. We still have the players. We're full on that. Our roster's pretty dang good. But the way they prepare, I laugh. We play this game, and it's you have fun, and all of that's important, especially at the high school level. But when you get at this level, especially in IL world now, it becomes a business. And so they have a business-like mindset, even to how they're stretching, preparing, paying attention, wanting to develop. I remember we read all the stuff about how Vince was on their butt. They responded to that stuff. I think before it was kind of like, oh, we hear you, but yeah, you're old school, bro. We're going to do it our way. And that's just not really the case. I'm going to the scrimmage Saturday. I was talking to Bianco and Sark yesterday. He actually talked about it. Listen, Mac is in his own world per how he manages relationships. But I'm going to tell you, dude, Sark is not far. And I'm removed, old school. I even try to give them their space to a certain degree, but he reached out, said what he said, and said, hey, man, it's going to be a good scrimmage Saturday. Come swing by. Him and Bianco said that. So I'm going to go by there and try to see that scrimmage, hoping that is exactly what I've seen before. And it's a different feel. I don't know if it's – and who the heck knows? We all know as much as we worked our butt off and kicked butt to win that natty, we had some breaks. That just happens in football. And I will say, if they go with where they are now culturally and the roster they have, and they actually continue a level of development during the season, who knows what can happen. But I think where they hoped for things before, they're embracing being the hunted as those who were picked to win the Big 12. And how you embrace that, the work you put in, and they're putting in some real work.
He's Quan Cosby, not just the Presidential Citation Award this year, but the UT Hall of Honor now, class of 2023.
Stacking them up.
Hey, Quan, real quick, and last thing is we're gonna extend the segment here a little bit because I got you. I know I use you as an example all the time when we talk NIL, and you've told me this story before about coming back from baseball, and you had been in the business of sports, for 4 years of your life, and you understood how important, the connections you could make at UT were, and even before there was NIL. Now we have NIL where these young players and student athletes are able to meet with and get to know some really important people that can help their lives beyond sports. And you did that. I thought this was a cool thing. Can you share that story with you and Mac Brown and Mac helping you to meet with important people while you were at UT within the rules to make sure that when you left Texas you had a head start on connections and relationships?
Yeah, man. It was certainly within the rules. I did not even get a fraction of the dollars these cats are giving. but I did get an insane amount of business cards. I got an insane amount of meetings. And it was Coach Brown, and it was also Powers and DeLoss. I mean, I would meet with Powers because I was older. I came back 22, 23 by the end of that season, and I would meet with Powers quarterly. I would meet with DeLoss quarterly. And, then, of course, I would spend almost every day with Coach Brown. And being older, understanding the offense, guys would come to practice, and I'd be like, hey, Coach, I'm going to take a couple plays. He's like, yeah, go shake their hand. That's X, Y, Z. You need to know him later on. And then we translate that to the off season of going to Dallas or Houston and meeting with, different donors and alum. And, again, I had to buy my own meal and things like that. Unfortunately, I had a little baseball stash that I could do it with. But, it was – and even I do that, I think, maybe a week and a half ago, I go to – I did not play golf, but I went to River Oaks, which is, boy, that club is stuffy, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But, hey, I went to school. I went to high school in River Oaks.
Bro, that club is stuffy. I want to play it, but it's stuffy. But I sat down with John Atkins and Bob Moses. And so those are things that I've been doing since 2005. And we sat down. We talked about the state of UT. We talked about because he's on the athletic council or something. There's so many councils we had no idea about. But he's on that. John led it at one point, and just talked about this year. Talked about development. We got a new development person, and so I was talking to Chuck Harris, who runs our Texas Association, and it dawned on me that I've actually talked to a Texas Exes group everywhere from Amarillo to Tyler to El Paso to San Antonio, and now the Rio Grande Valley. And so that's what I learned from Coach Brown, and it was so smart. And now what's cool about it is I did it. I had to worry about so many rules. I'd always talked to compliance before. That's not a worry anymore, and it shouldn't be. Yeah, people hear about the dollars, but they don't hear about, the guys just truly sitting down. Me and Lamar talked about Lamar Houston, sitting down, meeting. Lamar is actually, the dude has his MBA, phenomenal story, but he's doing what I did in 2005. And so he's that many years removed from it. And it had a lot to do with my age and being in the sports business.
That's true.
And understanding the macro level of things. I saw the big picture very differently at that time, coming back older. So, yeah, man, you're right on. Coach Brown did that, still does it. He has more contacts than half the people I know. And if between him and the president's office, if I need to reach out to somebody or sit down and talk life, sports, work, we still do it. So it's the Longhorn Nation that we often talk about. It's always so fun. And being Robbie's been down at basketball games, and he's in that section, and I occasionally get down there. And and it's those folks that are in those sections that just you want to be friends with and celebrate the Longhorn family and do business together, but ultimately pull for the horns and be that family that we were sold in recruiting. So, yeah, man, Coach Brown was one of the best at it, and fortunately, because of being older, I try to live up to it and take advantage of it.
Quan, congratulations, man. Well deserved. No one represents the UT as well as you do in my mind, and always great to talk to you. Thanks for the thoughts. Let's talk after the scrimmage and give us some intel. Don't burn any bridges, but we want to find out what you think, right? You'll be watching.
Hey, man. Hey, thanks to y'all and doing radio. I know how to say it without saying it.
That's right.
Amen, brother.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Hooker, baby, I appreciate y'all, man.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Quan. Congratulations again.
Going in. That's good
the
stuff.
legendary lifetime Longhorn, Quan Cosby. Yeah,
Indeed.
talk about a fan favorite. Yeah, and I don't think people knew about the University Presidential Citation Award. He was given that in I think April.
Yeah. Then we'll think about, again, Quan's a good friend. Spent many around playing golf with him and talking, and he came from a tough spot. I mean, growing up in Waco and adopted when he was 12 years old. And, from that to what you just heard for 15 or 20 minutes, what he's achieved and what he's accomplished and how he gives back, because of course we're praising him and he would come back and, well, your guys' show's really good and thanks for what y'all do. And then, he deflects from his stuff to Lamar Houston. That's how Quan does.
Yeah.
And he's always looking to help, and certainly helping the university. And that's why he is Quan Cosby.